Okay, part four. How not to drive. We're going to talk about the right of way. So the right of way is the most causes the most problems. Um, Quite honestly, if people knew the right of way, they identified the right of way when it was in play, and they didn't relinquish the right of way like people tend to do. 90% of all problems on the road, on the freeways, in the streets, parking lots, wherever, would be eliminated almost completely. Um, but the trick is knowing the rules of the road, knowing when you have the right of way, identifying it when it comes up. That, hey, doofus, maybe it's you that has the right of way, or maybe it's not you. And not relinquishing it. And that's the key right there. Never relinquish the right of way. Know it, identify it, and never relinquish it. Now you're saying, Jeff, what if there's you know, what if I have to relinquish it because of um, somebody's doing something wrong or something dangerous, and it's just better to just wait. I said, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about regular driving, regular conditions, regular cars and people just doing their thing out on the road, including pedestrians. And I will tell you that if you know it and you identify it, you would never have to relinquish it. Nor should you. No one should ask you to, and you should never give it freely. Because this is what causes confusion. And confusion is what causes accidents. It is very, very clear to me that watching traffic and watching, how people interact on roads and streets, that most people haven't got a clue as to what to do out there in sticky situations, where, oh no, I've come to a stop sign. Somebody stopped at the same time as me. My head just went to mush, cobwebs, cottage cheese, whatever. I don't know what to do. Panic ensues. Ah! Should I go? Should they go? If I wait and they wait and we're both sitting here, the cars behind us are waiting. Then all of a sudden the honking begins. And then one car goes, and then this other car goes. And now you're doing this little inching thing towards the middle of the intersection. All because of confusion. All because someone doesn't know, or everyone, most people don't know the rules, or are afraid to identify it at the time. Simple. If you're at a stop and an adjacent car with an adjacent car, the person who stops first goes first, obviously. But if you stop at the same time, everyone knows it's the guy on the right. If the guy on the right stops the same time as you let him go. They go first. If you're on the right, you go first. And if you give up that right, you cause confusion in the mind of the other driver, and you get crash. If you know it, take it. And here's why. He's relying, more than likely, the other person knows the rules of the road, and they know the right of way. And he's expecting you to know it too. And so if you seem like you know it and suddenly you don't know it, you got a problem. If you don't take it, he's waiting for you to take it. If you're giving it up, how does he know you're giving it up? Now, what some people do, which drives me bananas, is they play traffic cop. They decide that they're going to determine who gets to go first and who has to wait. They're going to usually determine that you have to go first by relinquishing their right of way and suddenly waving you on, even though they were supposed to go first. It drives me absolutely baloney, batshit, because what it does is it says that guy is deciding for me what I already know. and maybe contrary to what I know. And I don't like that. It also says that that guy is deciding for both of us how this particular incident is going to go. I don't like that. It's bad enough that someone relinquishes the right of way causes confusion. It's just as bad or worse to compound the problem by playing traffic cop. Don't be a traffic cop. Okay? If it's your right of way, use it. Get the hell out of the way and so the guy can go. You know, what I do is, anytime that comes up, I'll give you a couple examples of how to avoid this problem altogether. If I know I'm about to stop at a light at the same time as somebody else, I won't even give that guy the indication I think I'm going to go in first if he has the right of way. I'm just going to sit there. I might not even look at him. I'll do one of these things, whatever. He sees me doing that. He knows I'm just not interested in going anywhere, and he has nothing to fear from me by T-boning him as he crosses through the intersection. If somebody stops and is on my right and gives up their right of way and starts doing this, I just sit there like this and stare at them and ignore them till they stop flopping their frickin' wrist at me and go. I got all day. I'm not about to play this little game with until we meet in the middle of the intersection. I just look at him, go like this, and stare at him and go, I didn't hire you as a traffic cop. I don't know you from Adam. I don't care what you say. You can flop your wrist at me all day long. I don't care. At some point, you're going to figure out that I don't care, and you're going to go. And then guess what? The guy who had the right of way actually took it by force as I pulled him across the intersection, kicking and screaming. But we didn't have a problem. We didn't have a collision. We didn't play this dance in the middle of the intersection while people behind us are going, what the hell's going on? But even worse than that is the pedestrian who plays traffic cop. Ugh. Pedestrians have the right of way basically everywhere, even when they're breaking the law. They're jaywalking, they're crossing not where a crosswalk is, it doesn't matter. They have the right of way pretty much everywhere and will win that argument almost every time. Only a dumb idiot would insist on their right of way in that case when they don't have it. But this is what drives me crazy, is people who take advantage of their right of way or relinquish it. There is almost no other more sure thing that you can have while behind a car or as a pedestrian in this world than knowing a pedestrian has the right of way at all times. There's almost no more sure thing that anyone should ever have. And as such, why any pedestrian would give up their right of way is absolutely mind-boggling. They sit there and they walk up to a corner on an intersection, and the light turns green and the little red man turns into a white walking man, and they stand there staring at you. You're waiting because they are giving you every indication that they're crossing the street and they don't move. What do? You have this little hesitation of, well, if I start and then they go, I could run into them. Why are they waiting? Why are they just standing there? Maybe they're going to cross. Maybe they're not going to cross. Don't be that guy either. If you're not crossing the street, don't stand at the corner looking like you're going to cross the street. Turn around. Look at your navel or the sky. Back away from the crosswalk. But sitting there loitering on the thing when the light turns green, how am I supposed to know what you want to do? If you're going to act like you want the right of way and then relinquish it, that's a problem. But if you don't act like you have the right of way and there's nothing to relinquish in the first place, we do not have a problem. Think about the other person for once in your stupid, selfish lives, people. You're sitting there coming up to a crosswalk or not a crosswalk in a parking lot or somewhere. And you suddenly, the car slows down for you, and you, as the pedestrian, are right there ready to cross the road or in front of the other car, and you stop as a pedestrian and do this. You know what I want to do when someone does that? Put car in park, open the door, and pummel the guy. That's what I want to do. Why? Because, first of all, I slowed down for no damn reason. For a guy who's just playing traffic cop and deciding I now have the right of way when I know he had it, and he knows he had it. And two, because I didn't hire the guy to be the traffic cop, and he took it upon himself that in that situation he was going to control things. And I don't like that, as I said. That doesn't mean I have to control things. I don't have to control it either. The point is the law, common sense, and knowing the right of way controls it for everybody. It's not about control per se. It's about someone taking control when they don't have the right to do it, or giving up the control when they should be doing it. Confusion is not good when you're talking about cars and people in dangerous situations. And annoying the crap out of people because you are too stupid or lazy or too much of a control freak to do the right thing. Don't play traffic cop in a car, as a pedestrian. Don't do it. If you have the right of way and a car doesn't stop, you cannot prevent that. And if you are always going to be traffic cop and you're always going to let the car, as a pedestrian, have the right of way in every situation to avoid being run over, not only are you an idiot who should be wearing a helmet at all times, but you also are probably pissing off every driver on the road. Someone's going to get out of that car and beat the crap out of you eventually because you're just being a douche. Because, pet peeves of mine about how people react and act in the car and as a pedestrian, these things drive me crazy. They make me angry. Temporarily, of course. I'm talking about, mildly, like, put off, frustrated. But, enough of these things happen in the same day, right? Turn into goofy. Now, of course, in addition to the giving up of the right of way, which causes all sorts of trouble, there is a myriad of other problems out there. People who cut you off. This one I love. You're in the suicide lane or the slow lane on a road. And how many times have you come across this one? Like 1,000 times. And there's a intersection or a driveway or a whatever car coming and wants to get into your lane or onto the road that you are on. And whatever speed you are, it doesn't really matter. People can judge speed. They can judge whether they can get in front of you without making you slow down or not. And remember, in the previous part, I said, don't make someone change what they are doing, or it's on you because you didn't time it right. You didn't plan it right. You assumed something. Whatever. Let's say you're on a road. You got 3 lanes. Coming to an intersection, you can see it coming up. And this bozo wants to turn right in front of you. He's got 3 lanes to choose from. And by God, every time they choose your lane. Now, if the guy was doing it right, he would make sure that if he was going to pick your lane to turn in, that he would speed up knowing his car and how fast it can go, in front of you so that you don't have to slow down. Or he would pick another lane that's not in front of you so you don't have to slow down. Don't be the a-hole that goes in front of you anyway because you're more important than everybody else and you needed to go now, and get in front of the guy and make the person slow down. Don't be that guy. Let's say you wanted to change lanes. You put on your blinker. Now, today's driver, that's sometimes a clue, or a cue, I should say, for just the wrong kind of driver to do something kind of stupid. A lot of people avoid blinkers till the very last second, if they use them at all, to avoid having to deal with another kind of a-hole that we should be not wanting to be. If you want to change lanes, there's so many people out there who the minute they see a blinker from a car that's actually in front of them, that wants to move in front of you in some kind of traffic, a little bit heavy. How many people speed up to keep that guy from getting in front of you? He's already in front of you, just happens to be another lane. But he starts with his blinker and you speed up so he makes sure that he has to go behind you. A lot of people wait. They don't blink. They don't signal at all until the last second. So you don't have time to fill that hole. How many people do that but don't give you enough time to respond and you have to slam on your brakes because they just cut you off? How many people will never signal even when it's the only way anyone's ever going to let them over? And with their assumption no one will, but anyway anyone's ever going to let them over in traffic. And you're like supposed to be a mind reader and know what they want. This one I love. The car that's behind me puts his signal on, which I can't see because he's in my blind spot, or his car is next to me and his taillight that's blinking is behind me, and he wonders why I'm not getting over for him. That one I love. That's just idiocy. We'll continue the rest of this in the next part, final part.